games are paid for by the Pittsburgh Athletic Company, Incorporated. Hello again, everybody. This is Milo Hamilton greeting you for Game 2 in the playoff series, the championship series of the National League for '79. Nellie Briles is waiting down on the field to chat with Captain Willie Stargell. Lanny Fratteri is joining me here in the booth for the opening comments. And last night, the Bucks took a big step forward. You look for an edge in a short series, and boy, they really took one. When you figure all the things that they did so well, they played last night just the way they played to get here. They used their versatility, they used their bullpen, and just as if a script had been written, you put Willie Stargell on center stage to do it all and win it.
Yes, and he has to be now more than ever a big choice to be most valuable player. And what a big psychological lift for the ball club with John Candelaria not only going 7 strong innings, but downright a courageous performance for Candy, the way he battled. I guess if there was a keynote to last night's game, it's the way he struck out Knight and Dreesen with bench at third early in the ball game. That seemed to set the mood of the game.
It really did, because he got out of that jam, and now he's kidding around with me again today. Last week in Chicago on the road, he said, well, I'm through for the year. You won't see me again until 1980. Now today, he says, now you've seen the last of me again. But I never know with him. I think he means it sometimes, and then 2 days later, he says, I got to pitch again.
Well, I don't even think people in the media should talk to him, because John just does the job. I mean, there's no reason to pay attention to what he says. It's what he does on the mound that really matters.
Well, today on the mound, it'll be Jim Bibby, who was 12-4. You got a couple of flamethrowers because his opponent, Frank Pastore, can bring it too. His record was 6-7. Nellie Briles is waiting to interview Captain Willie Stargell, so let's go to the field with Nellie.
Well, here at Riverfront today for our very special pregame guest, we have the hero of last night's game, Captain Willie Stargell. Willie, how did it feel running around the bases last night, and what went through your mind knowing that you just put us 3 runs up in the ball game?
Well, I tell you, Nellie, we looked like it was scheduled for one of those things that we've been accustomed to all night, playing those all-nighters, and that's one thing I didn't want to do. But I'd been doing a few things mechanically wrong at the plate earlier in the game, and Bob Skinner and I talked about them. And that's basically what I wanted to do, was just get fundamentally right, pick out a couple of zones, and wait for that particular time. And when the pitch was coming, I knew it was in my zone, and I just wanted to make sure that I was mechanically right. So I was more impressed about doing the things mechanically right. When I hit the ball, I knew it was gone, and then all of a sudden it dawned on me that that was the runs that we needed to put us in the game and out in front. But I think basically what we try and do is keep as close as we can to our game plan, not to try and do anything fancy. I know the first time up, Tom struck me out on some pitches that were bad, and the mechanics weren't there, and that's what I was striving for. And, you know, the excitement and everything, you have a tendency sometimes to get away from that. But it's so important that you do remain mechanically sound, and that's what I wanted to do, and I was very pleased with my efforts. So running around the bases as a result of hitting a home run, I was excited, of course, and the fact that we had come from behind in so many occasions, and we wanted that ball game, and especially here on the road, and we were able to put it together because Candelaria and the Teak and Don Robertson, Grant Jackson did tremendous jobs in relief, and it was just a gutty performance, the defense again, and then Garner taking command of the first inning, hitting a home run, and then we got the triple by Omar and the sacrifice fly by Tim. So these are the combined efforts of things that we've been putting together all year, and this is why we're so happy with the things that we've been doing all year.
When you were rounding that base, third base coming in home, did your feet ever touch the ground? Could you feel the ground as you were rounding it? What went through your body?
I really don't know. I was just real excited, especially when I came around third and I saw the gathering of all the guys. And then it really meant something because, I mean, we collectively has done so much to get where we are, and everybody's just rooting so hard for each other. And to get the kind of response from the guys, it does make you feel good, and I'd be lying to say otherwise.
Even after all these years and the many thrills that you've had?
After all these years, Nellie, before the game yesterday, my mouth was dry, and I had goosebumps and butterflies, and Skinner and I was talking about it. He said, even me with my old self, I'm still feeling the effects of things that I did as a youngster, and I would hope that each and every one of our guys experience the same thing. I don't want anybody going out there knowing that they're not excited and it's not thrilling, because it is to me, and I'm sure it is to everyone else.
You're known as the big leader on this ball club, and I know you've stated there's been many leaders on this club throughout the year, but you lead in a little different way, at least I think so. You lead on the field. You lead by example and not so much by word of mouth. And has that been by design, or that's just the way you are?
Well, when Danny Murtaugh asked me to be captain, I asked him what did he want me to do, because I didn't want to be anything than what I already am, and that's the individual that I am. And if I can have something that I possess, that people feel that I possess, can help someone, fine, then I'm all for it.
What we have with us is our special guest, manager Chuck Tanner. Chuck, you made a very gutsy decision last night in going with Candelaria in a situation to where you could have really been second-guessed had Candy not pitched well. What was the story behind the Candelaria start last night?
Well, a couple of days ago, he pitched about 1/3 of an inning, and the day before that, I was in the bullpen with him watching him throw, and he just threw the living daylights out of the ball, and I knew he'd be all right, and that one outing on the mound really helped him. He said he was ready, and the way he can throw, he's a money pitcher. I knew that the pressure wouldn't bother him. I knew the big crowds wouldn't unsettle him, and he's as great as anybody. I think he's as great as Tom Seaver, and we had to put the big man out there against their big man.
Last night's win. We go in today's game 1 up, and if we can win today, then it's 1 out of 3 for the next series. What does that do for a ball club spirit, and what does that do for you managerially speaking?
Well, it really, we win today, it's going to really help us, because the pressure really has to be on the other ball club, Cincinnati. They can't afford a mistake. They're going to have to go with everything that they have to try to win the next ball game. And if they would happen to do that and have to go with everybody, it could really hurt them for the following day. So we come out here 2-0 and go back home, we'll be in excellent shape.
Last night's game, very typical of the type of games that we've had for the last 2 months, and just had to battle back. You've got to feel that the spirit in the clubhouse, the 25-man theory that you've had and Willie Stargell has had, that has so much to do with the spirit on the ball club.
Well, I think so. They all know they're going to play. If the situation arises, we're going to use them. We have faith in everybody. That's how we got here, and that's the way we're going to continue to play.
Well, Chuck, good luck today. Continued good luck. Let's bring a championship back. And now let's go back upstairs to Milo and today's lineups.
The playing and the singing of our national anthem from Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio. And the University of Cincinnati Bearcat Band is still out there. They've done a wonderful job entertaining this crowd. The men in blue have arrived. We'll be having the representatives of the two teams showing up very shortly now to exchange the lineup cards for Game 2 that will show pitchers Jim Bibby 12-4 for the Pirates, Frank Pastore 6-7 for the Reds. I want to remind you, during today's baseball game in the playoffs, we'll have 3 Giant Eagle home run sweepstakes innings. The jackpot is now $400, so I know you want to stay with us for more home run sweepstakes excitement. I'll be back with the lineups right after this message. All right, now let's look at the starting lineup for the visiting Pittsburgh Pirates, who go in 1-0 in this second game. Omar Moreno will lead it off and play center. Tim Foley, the shortstop, will bat in the 2-hole. Dave Parker's in right field, batting third. The cleanup batter, Willie Stargell, playing first base. John Milner will bat fifth. He'll play left field. Bill Madlock is batting sixth and playing third. Ed Ott will do the catching again today and bat seventh. Phil Garner batting eighth and playing second. And Big Jim Bibby, 12-4, 1-0 with the Reds this year. That is also his lifetime against them. So that is it. The top third, Moreno, Foley, Parker. The middle third, Stargell, Milner, Madlock. The bottom third, Ott, Garner, and Bibby. For the Reds, Dave Collins will lead it off and play right. Joe Morgan, second base, batting second. Dave Concepcion is the shortstop, hitting third. George Foster, the left fielder, is batting cleanup. Johnny Bench will do the catching and hit fifth. Dan Dreesen's at first base, and he'll bat sixth. Ray Knight at third base, and he'll be batting seventh for John McNamara's Reds. Cesar Geronimo in center, batting eighth, and Frank Pastore with a record of 6-7, 0-1 with the Bucks. That is also his lifetime because he was a rookie this year. He's an impressive pitcher, and as the Reds take the field, Pastore will be headed for the hill in a moment. With this Line up at the top third, Collins, Morgan, and Concepcion. In the middle three, Foster, Bench, and Dreesen. The bottom third, Knight, Geronimo, and Pastore. Pastore now, as you see, just going across the line. He's a flamethrower. With the two guys going here today, Nelson Briles, it's possible they might have to measure the mileage on the Richter scale rather than miles per hour. They both can bring it.
They certainly do, and we faced Frank Pastore in his first Major League appearance, and even though we knocked him out somewhere in around the fourth inning, he was still throwing the ball very well. Was sent to the minor leagues, has since come back and established himself as their number 2 pitcher in their rotation. Throws the ball very well.
In all fairness to him, the day we knocked him out, he was really put on the spot. That was the day Seaver tried to warm up a couple of times, and I don't mean just briefly. He was down in that bullpen. Pastore really went to the hill in that game on short notice.
Well, he certainly did, and it's difficult to prepare for a game when at the last minute they said, hey, the starter can't make it, you're in there. And it's his first Major League start. It's against a fine Pirate ball club. A lot of pressure was put on him, and maybe that's one thing that has helped him have the success later in the year.
All right, his battery mate is Johnny Bench. Their infield first around to third. 22, Dan Dreesen is at first. Joe Morgan, number 8, at second. Shortstop Davy Concepcion, number 13, is the shortstop. Ray Knight, 25, at third. In center field today, they've changed it. It'll be Cesar Geronimo, number 20, since we're starting the right-hander. George Foster, their kingpin in left, number 15. And Dave Collins, 29, in right. Pirate coaches are Al Monchek at first. Joe Lynette at third. Pastore is getting close now to being ready. And Johnny Bench directing the youngster. Well, last night there were so many things that went according to the script of the 79 Pirates. Gar's home run got us off and going. The sacrifice fly by Foley. I thought that one of the keys and one of the turning points was when Bench got the triple and they did not score. Another one was, of course, the outstanding infield play again by Madlock and Foley and Garner and Stargell. They all came in for a piece of the credit there with the double plays and the other fine play on the infield. I thought the versatility came through along with the bullpen. That was one of the big points that I tried to make during yesterday's pregame and also on other shows over the weekend, that when we got here, the maneuverability that Chuck Tanner had would help him. When we saw that come to the front last night when he pinch ran for Foley as regular shortstop, and we went on to get the big home run from Stargell and take the one-game edge. Moreno is ready. We're all ready. And the first pitch of this game from Pastore is a strike, and we're underway. Moreno last night was 1 for 5. Their center fielder's playing him straight away. The other two outfielders are fanned toward the foul lines. Fouled off, and it's strike 2 to the Antelope. Foley will be next, then Parker. Well, it broke out into a beautiful day, ideal for the players here. Another day when a pitcher's got to feel like he's pumped up when he gets out here today.
Well, today it's a beautiful day to pitch. Nice, cool breeze blowing. A thing that might come into play later in the game is a sun field and left.
Bouncer Morgan made it close, but they got him, and it's one away. Morgan to Dreesen, second to first. Moreno out on the ground ball. It looked as though maybe Morgan had just ever so slightly a bit of trouble getting that ball loose to get it out of there.
Omar hits the ball up the middle just a little bit. Morgan, playing him relatively up the middle, has a little trouble putting a clean handle on it. And with the speed of Moreno, you can't take anything for granted. Almost beat the play, but Morgan got him in time.
Here's Tim Foley, went 2 for 4 last night, drove in a run with a sacrifice fly. He's playing on 2 legs that have really got him gimpy, boy. There's a strike. If this were the part of the season where you could afford it, we've got about 5 guys who need a week off. But not today. Bounced foul, and it's strike 2, so Pastore gets out in front of both of the hitters. Ended up getting Moreno on a ground ball. Let's see what he does with Foley. The Reds, who won the West by a game and a half. The Bucks, who won the East by 2. Both came strong after the All-Star game to do it. Each team had to go into the final weekend. Indeed, the Pirates the final day to put it away. Almost chased that breaking ball as he threw it in the dirt, but laid off, and it's 1-2. No game tomorrow. Next game will be Friday at Three Rivers. Do not know who our pitcher will be. They will start Lacoste. Here's the 1-2. Fly ball, right center. Geronimo has the speed to be there easily, and it's 2 down. Foley out. to Geronimo in medium right center. Now we'll go to the Cobra. Dave Parker was 1 for 4 last night. Came on strong in the last 2 weeks. He hung out some blue darters, I'll tell you, especially in that series over the weekend with the Cubs. If he'd have been hitting like that around Labor Day and gone on a tear, Keith Hernandez would have felt some footsteps. All right, the young right-hander Pastore facing Parker. Had a good cut there, but fouled it off, and it's strike 1. Stargell would be next. There's nobody on and 2 away. You look for edges and you look for lifts. I say that the fact that Seaver wasn't able to win the opening game, and even when he wasn't around, their top reliever was the loser, that's got to give you a big lift.
Their top reliever hadn't given up a home run in his last 42 games, and with Stargell's home run coming in the 43rd game, manager John McNamara said, hey, you got to go with your best. I went with my best and you beat him. He said that has to give a lot of credit to that Pirate ball club.
No balls, 2 strikes, 3rd straight hitter. He's been out in front 0-2. 1-2. And just like last night, the first time up, Cobra showed the good eye. 1-2 to Dave Parker. Nobody on in front of him. 2 down, opening inning. A let up. A bouncer down the right side. It'll be foul about 5 feet outside the bag. What does he throw for his change?
Basically, it's a straight change. He likes to try and turn it over just a little bit. And as we mentioned, he has matured since the first time that we saw him. He didn't have the confidence to throw that change up and snap the breaking ball with as much authority as he has shown he's going to do today. He's establishing his #1 pitch, and that's his fastball.
And there are the Pirate wives, those who were able and those who were invited to come on the trip. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Struck him out with heat upstairs. 3 up and 3 down. So Pastore passes the first test against the good-hitting Pirates. We played a half an inning. The Bucks go down 1-2-3. The Cincinnati Reds are just now coming into bat. All right, Jim Bibby getting in the warm-up tosses, 12-4. When he stepped into that rotation as the other starter, well, he really came on and did his thing, and especially the 2 big games against Chicago, he just pitched marvelous baseball. And as you're looking, you see the defense that will show Ed out his battery mates, Stargell and Garner on the right side of the infield. On the left side, Foley and Matlock. The outfield left to right today, Milner, Moreno, and Parker. Jim Bibby beat this club once in relief this year. That is his victory against them for the season and lifetime. They talk about some pitchers maturing later in life as far as doing their best. Even though Bibby had some flashes of form at Texas and at Cleveland, I really believe he's pitched his best baseball the last 10 or 12 weeks as far as doing the things with the things that he does best. There's a liner into left center, and Moreno will be right there to take care of Collins. So Collins, who went 2 for 5 last night and made one of the great catches in the game on Parker, goes after Bibby's first pitch. Bibby has great stuff, and when he stays with the stuff that really gets him here, he can be a tough pitcher.
Well, you like to see Jim stay aggressive. He needs to challenge the hitters, throwing that good fastball, getting his breaking ball over the plate. And when he does that, as he has done in his last 2 starts, he is pitching the best baseball of his career right now.
Joe Morgan went 0 for 4 last night. Veteran second baseman. Many people say that when he came over in the Houston deal several years ago, he was the glue that set up that infield and really had some great years with his bat as well and sent them on to championships. 1 ball and no strikes. Joe Morgan, native of Bonham, Texas, but makes his home out in the Bay Area now. That'll even it. 1-1. Concepcion is their on-deck hitter. center fielder and right fielder playing Morgan to pull. The left fielder, Milner, playing him just about straight away. So there's a big gap in left center. That's a foul way back up in the upper deck above the press box. Down into the mezzanine as Morgan watches the track of that ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Morgan will surprise you. He'll jerk one on you once in a while.
Got surprising power for a small guy. You have to be careful what you're doing with him. He hasn't been able to hit that home run ball as good this year, mainly because of a lot of physical problems.
The 1-2 from Bibby. Took a little something off that breaking ball and got it inside too much, and it's 2-2. In the regular season, we were 4-8, including 3-3 here. And a 2-2 served up by the big right-hander. He didn't get that where he wanted it at all. He let go of that wrong, or it slipped or something, because that was way up. Now he's got a full count on Morgan. And he walks a lot. He led them in walks again this year. He walked 93 times. The payoff on the way, and he ends up walking him. So Morgan becomes the first base runner, and he does it via the base on balls. Now, you got to be careful with him when he's a base runner also.
Well, that's been Joe's forte. As we take a look at the last pitch from Bibby, ball is down in the dirt, and there really wasn't any question as far as Morgan was concerned. But when he gets on that base, he also makes things happen, much like our Omar Moreno. If you walk him, it's almost a cinch double.
David Concepcion last night played sparkling shortstop and went 2 for 5 with his bat. Now the Cincinnati crowd coming to life a little bit as Morgan is sent back to the base by Bibby's throw over. And you take a look at both of them here. Stargell holding Morgan. Bibby working on Concepcion. Stargell still likes to have fun even if it is a playoff game. He'll tap you on the shoulder, and the conversation would be worth hearing too.
Morgan's been a regular at Willie's bowling tournament every fall, and they're pretty good friends, but not right now.
He's edging a little, and he's going. You don't throw him out on that steal. Stole it clearly on Bibby, and we have talked about Bibby during the year. Now here it is again.
Well, Ed Ott comes out of the chute pretty well, but Morgan got such a good jump, and knowing that Bibby is slow to home plate, figured that just a good jump was all I need, and he was off and running with a play, beats it easily.
Bibby with that big long trunk. Although I would say the second half of the season he improved a lot on holding the runners. Fly ball, right field. Parker's going to be right there. Morgan will not have any thoughts about moving over to third against that rifle, and it's 2 away.
Yeah, Joe just goes halfway, knowing that against that kind of an arm, there's no percentage in trying to go to third base.
And especially with Foster coming up. Foster last night 1 for 3, a towering home run to deep left center. He was 1 for 3 with the homer and drove in a couple of runs. He was hurt several of the games that we played them this year, so he didn't have those big figures against the Pirates that he usually does. Batting now as you look in from center, and there are certainly all the principles at this moment. Morgan, potential run scorer right there at second. Bibby's on the mound. Foster is the batter. Ed Ott drops the fingers, and let's see what he opens up on him right here. 1 ball and no strikes. And Bibby, first playoff experience. We talked about those funny kind of butterflies for these games. He's got a few. 1 ball and no strikes. Really put a wrinkle in that one, but it went outside, so he's behind this hitter. 2 balls and no strikes. That's a pigeon's eye view of Riverfront. Two balls, no strikes. Morgan walked after 1 out. Stole second while Concepcion was batting. It's now 2 away. Well, he's worked him 3 different spots and missed all 3. Johnny Bench doesn't get any easier. They can throw some bats at you. Bench is on deck over to the right side. Bibby taking a little extra time. He'll be the guy that'll produce the most perspiration here today, even if it is a fall day. Walked him. That's 2 walks in the inning. Now he's got to look at Johnny Bench as Foster reaches first. There's Morgan at second. 2 down in the opening inning, and Johnny Bench stepping in. Last night, Bench was 2 for 3. So with 2 on and 2 out, Bench, who came on strong, especially with the long ball in the second half. Playoffs, nothing new to this fellow. And it seems like he's one of those playoff and World Series and all-star guys who rises to the occasion when the full spotlight is on. Got that one where he wanted. Got out in front of the hitter. Something he hadn't been doing. There are the base runners. Morgan at second and Foster at first. Looking down from up above the first base side. No balls, 1 strike. Bibby agrees to the sign. He'd get a strike 1 count on the Cincinnati catcher. Power against power.
That was probably the best fastball that Jim Bibby has thrown so far this game. Reached back, was challenging Johnny Bench, and I certainly would like Jim to do that a little more, maintaining the idea of don't throw it down the middle, but just try and hit the outer 3 or 4 inches and the inner 3 or 4 inches of the plate.
So he's changed the pattern here. He fell behind 2 or 3 hitters. Walked Morgan and Foster. Now he's in front of Bench. 0-2 pitch. Fly ball right center. That ball's going to be back by the fence, and Parker's going to haul it in. Bench going to the opposite side. Took Parker deep, just this side of the fence in deep right center field. The crowd cheering with their hearts there. The ball really wasn't hit that well. And after it got up, it didn't carry. And Parker stayed right with it, ran right under it. And it's no runs, no hits, no errors, a couple of walks, 2 Reds left. We have played an inning. It's the Pirates nothing and the Reds nothing.
Here's to the Pittsburgh we know. Hey world, we've got the city to show. Here's to the Highland Park Zoo and rare birds like me and you. Here's to making a date, dancing, romancing, and getting home late. Here's to grinding it out. We're not fancy, but we've got clouds.
We go to the second, and Stargell, Milner, and Matlock are due up. The middle third of the Chuck Tanner card here today, and as Pastore tunes it up for the second, we'll remind you this copyrighted telecast is authorized under television rights granted by the Pirates solely for the entertainment of our audience. And any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Pirates is prohibited. So the best in the East against the best in the West in the western hometown of Cincy, the Bucks and the Reds. They have dominated postseason play since it began in '69. And Willie Stargell, who hit the 3-run homer last night that won it, waiting here for a moment to step in and lead off the second. His 1 hit last night. Wish I could always dictate things were going to happen the way it turned out last night when I said he was hitless and this would be a good start and this is it. And the next thing I knew, it was over the fence for a 3-run homer.
Willie said that was a type of pitch last night that even if I'm in a big slump, that's the pitch that I will still hit. Said he tried to work me inside, then got the ball just down and over the plate a little bit, and he said, I knew it was gone when I hit it.
And the ball goes outside to him here for an opener in the second. 1-0 to Captain Willie. Milner's on deck, Matlock down in the hole. Steerag, and it's 1-1. Those of us who have been around long enough to see this guy play all these years and have a title of being the MVP slip away one year. Boy, it'd just be poetic justice to see him crown it here at the age of 38 to be the MVP.
A lot of us are rooting for that, Milo.
You betcha. 2 balls and 1 strike. 2-2. The captain doesn't get cheated. When he swings and misses, everybody oohs and ahs. Pastore working for the Reds. Fouled off. 2-2. I think one of the things that'll help Willie, Nellie, is the focus that was put on our club the last week or two, and the number of media members from around the country that came in and saw firsthand not only how great a player he was, which they had to know if they had covered the game at all, but his influence on the team and all the other aspects that we know that we're with him every day that the other people don't know, that had a chance to see firsthand in his home ballpark.
Well, that's certainly true, and to illustrate his leadership, there was one point where everybody was saying, you know, we're tired, we're hurt.
Stargell ends up walking to start the second. He's the first Pirate base runner of the day.
And as Willie got up on the trunk and he said, hey, we're all tired, we're all hurt, we have to grind this thing out, get it going. And one of the ball players said, yeah, but you aren't playing every day, Willie. You've just been kind of platooned at first base. And he said, is that right? That's the time he went in to manager Chuck Tanner, and he said, I'm in there every game the rest of the year. We're going to do it. Nobody's going to say that I'm a part-time player anymore, and he has done it.
All right, John Milner, the left fielder, wore a size 5 counter last night, and there's the young right-hander Frank Pastore stepping into a starting assignment in Game 2 of the playoffs. A ball to Milner. He got the Bucks 1-2-3 in the first inning with little or no trouble. Moreno bounced to second, Foley flied to center, and Parker struck out. Now he's walked Stargell as a leadoff batter in the second. Starts off with a ball to Milner. And a fly ball out into left field. Foster flips the glasses right just short of the edge of the track, and it is one away. Milner out to his counterpart, George Foster, in left. Bill Madlock, third base, will step in, and here it is again on that last swing.
Milner not being able to get clear through the ball, hits the ball to left field, and we see in Pastore's follow-through that he has basically a good windup, gets all the way through the ball, and took a little off that with his changeup.
Madlock went 2 for 5 last night. Doggie'd like to include that game in his season average. That might have been enough to make him a 300 hitter. Interesting note that Colby made about Madlock. There's a shot to short. 1, 2. Concepcion had to go to the hole a little bit, but fired on to Morgan. In turn, the middleman gets it on to Dreesen, and it's a double play. No runs, no hits, no errors. A walk, DP, nobody left. We played an inning and a half. As the double play completed for you there to see just how it happened. It's still the Pirates nothing and the Reds nothing.
A good quarterback does his homework on and off the field. That's probably why the three of us are all drinking light beer from Miller.
See, light's got a third less calories than the regular beer, and it's less filling.
Plus, it tastes great. And you know it's important to have a command of facts like that.
It's mental discipline, really.
You're darn right. Because if you know every position, every option, every formation, you'll never get your signals crossed.
Hey, that's my beer, Terry.
Wait a minute. Well, you big turkey.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
I might have died if it weren't for these ever-ready batteries with the...
Danny Dreesen, their first baseman, will lead it off against Bibby in the second. Nothing but goose eggs on the board as Bibby works to Dreesen. Shot through the right side, base hit. First base hit of this game belongs to their first baseman, Dan Dreesen. So Dreesen on with nobody out, and Knight, the third baseman, will be stepping in. Knight last night was 0 for 5. He struck out to end the game. Don Robinson came out of that bullpen humming. John McNamara's coaches are Ron Plaza at first and Russ Nixon at third. So they've got a base runner on, and Bibby, who walked a couple in the first inning, is going to have to go right back to that stretch. It's the first one in, and it's strike one to the third baseman. Geronimo will be next. Captain Willie Stargell holding against Dreesen. Dreesen sharply hitting that ball, getting it between Stargell and Garner on into right to start the inning. Ray Knight, pressure didn't bother him as the throw goes over, and it's not close on Dreesen. All right, we'll go to the split for you so you can take a look at Bibby as he works on Knight and see what Dreesen might have in mind. He's got good speed, and he's going. Line drive into center. Moreno will throw to third. It will be late. Now throw to first, and he got back. So the Reds first and third the Bucks here with back-to-back singles, and with Dreesen going, he made it easily, and we're going to get another look.
The basic hit and run play, the ball was down and over the plate. Knight not trying to pull the ball, hits it right up the middle. And good daring base running by Dreesen, lets his feet take care of himself, pulls into third, and Matlock thought he had a shot at the runner at first, but didn't quite get it over there in time as Knight came back.
There's the running of Dreesen again, just taking that look over.
Picked up the ball, followed the ball, knew right where it was all of the time.
All right, runners first and third. Bibby in a full-blown jam here with Geronimo, a left-hand batting outfielder. First appearance of this series. Cruz played center for them last night. Our bullpen's going to go to work. It's Jim Rooker. And a strike to Geronimo. The key here, if he could get him with a pitcher due up next. So Jim Rooker, who had a frustrating year with all the injuries and the disabled list a couple of times, knowing that he will not get a start in the playoffs. You look at the runners, Dreesen third, and there's Knight at first. Rooker is the long man here today. Foul back. Got out in front of him, 2 strikes. Geronimo staring down at his third base coach, Russ Nixon. No balls, 2 strikes. Dreesen started with a single through the right side, then they put the run and hit on, and there's Jim Rooker working in the Pittsburgh bullpen. See what he does with an 0-2. Comes up empty. Oh, there's a big one. Now he's going to be looking at the pitcher. That was a very big strikeout.
Certainly was. Concentrated on throwing good hard stuff, keeping it up in the strike zone. Geronimo is just absolutely not able to catch up with it. Good fastball by Bibby in a key situation.
And Pastore will be stepping in. Runners at first and third. Now with Dreesen's speed, and if Pastore has some ability as a bunter, I'd say we got to be awake here.
Third base coach alerting the runner, setting up the play to be put on almost any time.
Right now, Mr. Bibby is airing it out.
Playing good old country hardball. There's no room for finesse. You have to go get this man right here. If they don't want to bunt, go for the strikeout.
Runners on the corners with 1 down. Second inning, no score. Bibby trying to pitch out of a tough spot here in the second. That didn't miss by much. It'll even the count. Pastore going to look down at his third base coach again. Nixon got a little Alex Grammas in him. He must wear out a uniform a week.
Keeps his hands clean.
1 ball and 1 strike. Look at Bibby. He's drenched. He could work up a sweat pitching in the Arctic. Must be something down here that's bothering the plate umpire a little bit.
Ball from the bullpen. Rooker trying to hump up a little bit, got 1 away from him.
All right, now everybody's ready again. Got a 1 ball, 1 strike count on his mound opponent. Remember, there's just one away. Powder River, and it's 1-2.
You know, actually, the Reds, if Pastore is going to make an out, they would prefer almost that he would strike out so that the next hitter, Collins, would have a shot at driving in the runs. They do not want the pitcher to hit into a double play.
1-2 the count as the runners lead at third and first. Pastore with a chance to help himself, and Bibby with a chance to get out of a mess. Fly ball center. He's going to get that run home. Dreesen will tag. Moreno's throw will come to Foley out behind second. 1-0 Reds. Pastore gave it enough of a ride into center. And the Reds break on top. Sacrifice fly RBI for Frank Pastore.
Bibby's been throwing that ball by them up there and evidently just didn't have quite as much on that pitch. Pastore able to get enough bat on the ball to drive the fly to Moreno, the run scoring.
All right, now he's got to look at the top man in their order, Dave Collins, who in the first inning lined out to center, and he didn't wait long. He got into the batter's box, jumped on Bibby's first offering, but as he lined it to left center, Moreno was right there to grab it. Runner at first. 2 away, and a strike called on Collins. Ray Knight, who worked the run and hit for them, he's at first base. And it paid off because the sacrifice fly by Pastore got Dreesen home, and the Reds are in front 1-0 in the bottom of the second inning. Bright sunshine here now. It was most of the morning. Then about noon it clouded up, but now it looks as though we should have no problem with the weather. Just sends him back with a token throw. Bibbs doesn't have a good move. He doesn't burn it over there very often. He's just trying to keep Knight close. That's the way it looks from our dugout on the third base side. Collins stepping back up in there. Showed bunt, but took it for a strike, and now he's in a hole 0-2. That's the skipper of the Reds. His first year managing this team. Brought him to the title in the West. Rooker continues to heat up in our bullpen. Collins making him wait a little bit. Bibby nodding agreement. Now he's ready. Knight edging but not going. Breaking ball hung it high. 1-2. Joe Morgan is due up next for Cincy. It's number 25, Ray Knight, with a base hit on at first. Pirates with their black caps today, and those gold stars show up a little better. In fact, they don't even wear them on the gold caps. The 1-2, Knight is running. Throw down's going to be safe. Stolen base.
It's a breaking ball with an off-speed pitch. It still comes out of the chute pretty well, and I thought Foley had a shot, but he tags him high. The runner's in there.
I think Foley thought he had him.
I think so, because the runner went in with his bent leg, tagged the bag with his bent leg, not his straight leg, and Foley thought that he had a shot at him, even though he tagged him high.
All right, now a runner in scoring position in the person of Ray Knight, and the count is 2-2 on Collins. Reds are leading 1-0. Pastore got Dreesen home with the sacrifice fly. So a lot of activity here in the first 2 innings. Bibby is throwing a lot of pitches. Might catalog that for later down the road. 2-2. Bibby takes a lot of time. Working quickly is not one of the things that Bibby is known for. All right, with the runner behind him at second, and he'll check back there. Strikes out Collins. Second strikeout of the inning and of the game for Bibby. But the Cincinnati Reds scratch first. They get a run on a couple of hits, a sacrifice fly. There weren't any errors, and one man was left. Knight, who had singled and stolen second, was left right there. So we played 2 innings. The Reds are in front. Cincinnati 1, Pittsburgh Pirates nothing. Well, this is it, a chance for another Pirate fan at home to have some fun as we play Giant Eagle Home Run Sweepstakes, and this is it for Harold S. Parsons of Pittsburgh. Harold can root the Bucks home during this half of the third. If a Pirate hits one out of here, Harold Parsons of Pittsburgh going to win $400 worth of Giant Eagle groceries. And as we go into the third inning, it will be the bottom third of the order. Ed Ott, Phil Garner, and Jim Bibby, all capable of putting Harold Parsons on easy street with a truckload of groceries from Giant Eagle. And Ed Ott last night, who was 1 for 5, stepping into the batter's box. Garner, who homered last night, is on deck. Reds with 1 run and 2 hits. Pirates are scoreless with no hits, but we're early. Just going to the third inning. Frank Pastore, who leads 1-0, drove it in himself with a sacrifice fly. Working now to Ed Ott, and it's ball 1. Play out pretty much straight away in all the outfield spots. There's a bouncer out behind second. Morgan throwing. Just did nip him at the wire. So Morgan's come up with a couple of pretty good plays on Moreno to start the game, and now here on Ed Ott.
Well, it was a chopper that was headed up the middle. Thought Ed Ott might have a base hit, but the ball hangs up just a little bit. Morgan going over, cutting the ball off, throws on the run, and just nips Ed Ott at first base. Nice play, Joe Morgan.
All right, that'll bring up Garner, the second baseman, and here's another look. The fact that he could get that much on the throw, almost leaning toward the second base bag, that throw had enough on it. If he lollipops that thing over, Ott beats it out. There's a bouncer to Morgan again, comes up on him, but throws on. Garner's out. 2 down in the third. So Joe Morgan getting a workout here.
He didn't have to charge that one. That ball was hit sharply.
Those are the can you wear chest protector on, huh? Even when you're playing on the infield. All right, Jim Bibby will step in. Harold S. Parsons of Pittsburgh is still our Giant Eagle home run contestant. $400 riding here. If Big Bibbs can jack one. He had a couple this year. One ball and no strikes. Hit 8 for 45 during the season, 2 home runs and 5 RBIs. 2 balls and no strikes. Bibby the batter. Moreno would be next. Well, Pastore put the run on the board for them. Doesn't seem out of the question that Bibby should be able to counter. 2 balls and no strikes. Inning number 3, game 2, 79 National League Championship Series at Riverfront. Ball 3. Youngster with a chance of a lifetime here today, Frank Pastore. And a strike to Bibby. 3 balls, 1 strike with nobody on in front of him and 2 down. Ott and Garner both handled on ground balls by Joe Morgan. Pirates still looking for the first hit. And Bibby ends up walking. That'll be the second pass issued by Pastore to go with 1 strikeout. So Bibby putting on that jacket. Bench and Pastore going to have a little chat as they both head to the hill, but well, that's going on. Bibby is moving down to first base. Omar Moreno will be the batter. Al Monchek checks in with Bibbs. The other walk went to Stargell in the second inning. The oddity of the 2 walks that he's passed out are the 2 guys with the biggest strike zones.
Well, I think here with Bibby, he just got a little careless, and then after he fell behind, he was trying so hard to throw a strike, he didn't actually throw the ball. He aimed it, was unable to come back and get Bibby.
Harold Parsons of Pittsburgh, still our contestant. There's a fly ball into left center field. Going to be easy for Foster, and the side has been retired. No runs and no hits, no errors. A walk to Bibby, and he was left. No home run was hit during this Giant Eagle sweepstakes inning, but no one ever loses here, and our contestant Harold S. Parsons will receive a certificate for 10 Tasty Cake family packs and a year's supply of daily juice products redeemable at your grocer. Our next Giant Eagle sweepstakes inning today will be worth $500. We played 2.5. Reds 1, Pirates nothing. In the third inning for the Cincinnati Reds, Joe Morgan, Dave Concepcion, and George Foster will be due up against Jim Bibby, who was a little late coming out because he was a base runner. Another great crowd here at Riverfront, and that's the way it ought to look Friday when we come home at Three Rivers. Ball club that gave you a lot of thrills all year long, battled as hard as they could, got into the playoffs. That'll be a big, big welcome for this ball club because they've got some guys who have given you their all in '79 in the Pittsburgh area, given you a lot to be proud of, and you ought to show them just how much you think of them by filling Three Rivers for that playoff game on Friday.
Certainly true, and here Jim Bibby has got his work cut out for him this inning. We have 2, 3, and 4 coming up. It's a big inning for him to try and shut them down because if they get something going early on in the inning, they've got the thumpers coming up behind Morgan.
And Morgan walked in the first inning and stole a base. They've stolen 2 bases, 1 in each of the first 2 innings. This is with a breaking ball to Morgan, leading it off in the Cincinnati third. The 1-0 from Bibbs, and he got that one in where he wanted it. Started off with him outside in the first and missed, came inside with that one and evened it. Ball and a strike. One and 2. Joe Lynette and Harvey Haddix are usually pretty hard on Bibby each inning when he's in on that bench. There's a high pop. Shallow left center. Foley out. Foley's play to make, and Foley squeezes it. It's 1 away. And by being hard on Bibby, I don't mean that they're cantankerous with him. They just try to keep reminding him, be aggressive. You're better when you do it. And sometimes a couple of guys doing it and not giving you a chance to let up just keeps you right on top of your best pitching.
Well, it certainly does. And they do it in a way that they're more reminding him than anything else, and they also want him to be aggressive because it makes him work a little faster.
All right, this is Concepcion, who flied to right in the opening inning. He's 2 for 6 in the series. Breaking ball went down and away from him, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Concepcion batting with nobody on and 1 away. Bibby has walked a couple. He's struck out 2. He's given up 2 hits, and he's on the short end of a 1-0 game. But we're early. It's just the bottom of the third inning. And the strike is called to make it 1-1 on the brilliant shortstop of the Reds, Davy Concepcion. And just as we are proud of Willie Stargell and think he ought to get the MVP, Cincinnati fans and members of their club will give you just as many arguments for this guy. Drive deep to left. Milner at the fence, and it hits high off the fence. Bounces back to Moreno. Concepcion standing with a double. Didn't miss much of going out of here. The way Milner acted, I think maybe he thought he was going to have a play right at the base of that fence. And here it is as he goes back. He's checking to see where the fence is, then realizes there that it's going to come down off that fence, and Moreno will be right there for the carom, and it's a double for Concepcion.
Well, it was such a high drive, Milo, that Milner drifted back with the ball, hoping that it would come down at the base of the fence. It did not. Carried into the fence, and Concepcion indeed is on with that 2-base hit.
So they're right back threatening. They picked up a run in the second. That's going to put our bullpen to work. It'll be Jim Rooker again. He's already headed out of the far end of the dugout, going to the bullpen down the left field line. Foster the batter. Foster walked in the first inning. One ball, no strikes. Chuck Tanner now. He's going to be watching his big right-hander very carefully. Chuck showed him last night he wasn't reluctant to make moves and use a lot of his bullpen, use his bench. The 1-0. Strike is in there. 1 ball, 1 strike. Foster batting with Concepcion at second. Johnny Bench is on deck. It's the Cincinnati third. George Foster, the last 5 years, been one of the best run producers in baseball. And Concepcion is his target now, of course. That's up, and it's 2-1.
Bibby must keep Concepcion in mind because he has base stealing speed, and third base in the minds of a lot of base runners is easier to steal than second, so we have to watch him.
2 balls, 1 strike. That'll level it on Foster. 2-2. Front of Bibby's cap tells a tale of the kind of a year he has had, as the Willie Stargell Awards are prominent. Pitched some big ball games for us right after that all-star break and then coming down the stretch. The 2-2. That'll fill it. So with Concepcion going back to touch second base, he's there with a double and 1 away. Reds about hit the Pirates. 3-0 lead in the score, 1-0. Payoff pitches due. Bibby taking a little extra time as he glances down into that bullpen, seeing Rooker throwing for the 2nd straight inning. Ended up walking him. Walking Foster for the 2nd straight time. 3 passes issued by Bibby. Now it'll bring up Johnny Bench. Bench flied to right in the 1st inning. And here it is again. Show you the location. Threw it in the dirt.
Well, again, a situation where they didn't want to give in to that power-hitting George Foster, so elected to throw the breaking ball. If he wants to chase it, okay, but situation they didn't want to give in and almost pitched around him.
Harvey Haddock, you saw there, the pitching coach. He and Chuck Tanner getting together, seeing what they think of the work that Bibby's doing here. And Johnny Bench, 0 for 1. 2 for 4 in the series. Two on, 1 out. There's Concepcion headed for third. The throw is going to be in time. A beautiful throw by Ott, especially considering that a right-hand batter was right there that he had to throw through.
Certainly was, and I thought Concepcion had a pretty good jump, and as we said earlier, you have to watch him. It was a breaking ball down and away. Ott came up and put it right on the money. Probably the only type of throw that could got a sliding Concepcion. He had to be going on his own because George Foster did not go ahead and steal second base. He's still at first. Concepcion knows with that look right there that, hey, I got to go. Just didn't make it.
Oh, an excellent throw by Ed Ott. Now it's 2 away, and the pitch to Bench is a strike to even at 1-1. There it is again, and Dog just put that glove down, let him tag himself out as he came into the bag.
Well, he certainly did. Put it right there, and you like Madlock because he stays right in there, puts the ball down, lets the runner tag himself out.
1 ball, 1 strike. There's a high pop. Ed Ott and Stargell both moving. Stargell's play to make midway between the line and the mound, and the caught stealing a big play there, and the Bucks get out of it. Bibby was in trouble with a double and a walk, but he gets out of it with nobody scoring. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, a walk, a caught stealing, and 1 left. We have played through 3. Another tough, tight one, just like you expected, isn't it? After 3 innings, the Reds won, and the Pirates nothing.
Of Game 2 of the National League Championship Series. Reds leading 1-0. The Bucks have been called on to make some big defensive plays already, and they've made them, Nellie.
Certainly have, and Jim Bibby, although he's been in trouble, has been able to come back and get the outs when he's needed them, so he's hanging right in there. The Reds are playing tough.
Well, it's expected to be a great series, and it has been. The crucial game last night, Pirates winning it, now trailing 1-0 as we go to inning number 4 of Game 2. All the color and drama and excitement is here at Riverfront. And, of course, the scene will shift to Pittsburgh's Three Rivers Stadium over the weekend. Foley leading off the 4th inning against Pastore. And a base hit into right field. Pirates get their first hit of the game. A leadoff single by Foley. And for Tim, his 3rd hit of the series.
Well, you know, the Bucks are going to come out swinging. The first pitch that's anywhere close, they're going to go ahead and hit it the best way they can. And that ball was in on Tim just a little bit, but it was up. And he was able to get his hands through and serve it over the second baseman's head.
All right, the totals here in the 4th. The Reds, 1 run, 3 hits, no errors. The Pirates, no runs, 1 hit and no errors. Parker, Cincinnati product. He'd like nothing better than to do a number on the Reds in this series. 0 for 1 in this ball game and 1 for 5 in the series. Frank Pastore, Reds starting pitcher, 1-0 Cincinnati leads. Parker line drive left center field. Foster plays it off the carpet. Foley will stop at second. Pretty much the same combination we put together in the 11th inning of last night's game. Foley and Parker with back-to-back leadoff singles. So there are the running mates. 2 on, nobody out in the 4th. Pirates in front 1-0.
Boy, and Parker really hit that ball. That ball was starched, and I have a feeling if Davey Concepcion would have been able to get up high enough to get that ball, that he would have ended up landing on his back. That ball would have carried him another 10 feet.
Here's Willie Stargell. He walked his first time up. There's the big hero of last night's game, and there were quite a few guys who wore the hero role very well last night. Pitch is swung on and fouled down to the left side, out of play. Strike 1. Foley, a leadoff single to right. He's now at second. Parker, after his line drive single to left, at first. Top of the 4th. Reds leading 1-0, and they got their run on the bottom of the 2nd when Frank Pastore hit a sacrifice fly to center to score Dan Dreesen. Well hit. Left center field. Foster going back. Warning track. It's over his head. Foley will have to stop at 3rd. Parker at second. Stargell's at second. They got 2 men. They got Willie hung up. Willie going to hurry back. The throw to Dreesen. He's out. Well, we had a traffic jam at second base. First it was Parker and Foley that were both standing near the second base bag, and then Foley went to 3rd. Stargell will get credit for a base hit on the warning track in left center field, and then is erased as Foster's throw came back into Concepcion and then on to Dreesen. It was a foot race to the bag, and Dreesen won it. Nellie, I guess Foley was... Here's the play again. And Dreesen got Willie.
Definitely. He outran Willie. Willie not being known for his speed.
Foley must have thought that Foster had a good shot at catching the ball and was going to tag up at second base. He was not halfway. He was going to tag up.
Especially with no one out. He could have been on 3rd base had Foster been able to make that over-the-shoulder catch. He couldn't have thrown anyone out. And Parker feeling exactly the same way. Now the ball drops in. Willie thought, hey, I got a double for sure. Monchak just running and screaming, hey, Will, get back over here. Come on, come on. And again, he loses the foot race. Parker watching the play, but we just got jammed up a little bit, and it cost us an out.
So now with first base open, they're going to put Milner on. What's the percentages there in that situation? Is that a halfway situation for Foley, or is that a good gamble to try to tag up on that?
Well, especially with nobody out, it's a real good gamble to tag up because, as I mentioned, Foster is going to have to make an over-the-shoulder running catch, and you should be able to walk to 3rd, and Parker, watching you tag up, will again possibly tag up and be able to go to second base. But we just didn't get that job done in that situation, and Willie more or less running Parker off of second base. We got caught in the rundown situation.
All right, Frank Pastore issues the intentional walk to Milner. So the bases are loaded for the Pirates with Foley at 3rd, Parker at 2nd, Milner at 1st. And Bill Madlock, the batter. The Reds are leading 1-0. We're in the 4th inning.
key to base running, watch that runner ahead of you. Watch that runner ahead of you.
Well, Madlock facing Pastore. The young right-hander really put together an impressive second half for the Reds, and he got the starting assignment in game 2.
Got him on the ropes. We want to polish him off right here. Don't let him up. Keep the pressure on him.
Top of the 4th. Apparently something bothering Pastore. He walked down off the mound. Pastore, as he steps and stands in the center of the diamond, surrounded by Pirate base runners. All right, now we're ready. Bench with a sign for Pastore. 1 ball and 1 strike. Foley's at third. He led off the inning with a single to right. Parker, after his line shot single over the glove of Concepcion, he's now at second. Milner received the intentional walk. He's at first. 1 out. Bats it to short. Concepcion to Morgan. 1 on to first. Not in time, and the Pirates have tied the game 1-1. Foley scores the run. Madlock's ground ball. They tried for the double play, but did not get it.
Just wasn't hit hard. They tried to turn it. Morgan makes a good pivot, but the speed of Bill Madlock beats the play at first, and Foley does score on the play.
Milner coming in on Morgan. Madlock's at first, Parker at third. 2 away in the inning, and the batter is catcher Ed Ott. Morgan made a 5 play to retire Ott in the third. 1-1 ball game, 4th inning, game 2 of the National League Championship Series. See if they run Madlock in this situation. Not going in the first pitch. That's in for a called strike. Parker over at third. Potential go-ahead run. Madlock, the runner at first.
Sets up the situation. If Madlock indeed steals, then they can pitch around Ed Ott, but you have Gardner hitting behind him.
Bats it to short. Concepcion throws to Dreesen. So Ed Ott has been retired twice on 5 plays. One by Morgan in the third, one by Concepcion here in the fourth. The Pirates have tied the game up. The Concepcion play to close out the Pirate fourth. The Bucks in the fourth, 1 run on 3 hits. After 3.5 innings of play in game 2 of the series, the Pirates won and the Reds won. The Pope is in Philadelphia, and Ray Tannehill and Eyewitness News is there. Thank you, Ray Tannehill and the Eyewitness News team for that. We go down to the bottom of the 4th inning in this 1-1 ball game. Matter of fact, the totals are even here this afternoon. The big play in the 4th inning was the play on the Stargell ball. Foley going to tag off second base.
Well, at first he was going to play it halfway, and then he saw that Foster was going to have trouble with it. Goes on and tags up. He's coming back, but then he's reading the play. He's trying to see what's going to happen. If they get in a long enough run down, then maybe he's going to try and help the runner out by jockeying back and forth around third base. But we just were running with our heads down a little bit, didn't watch our runners in front of us, and it might have taken us out of a big inning.
Dan Dreesen leads off the bottom of the 4th. Dreesen with a base hit scored the Reds run in the 2nd. Well, that was indeed a pivotal play in a series of plays in the top of the inning, but the Bucks got a run, tied it up at 1-1. Dreesen facing Bibby. And Bibby's out in front of the left-handed first baseman of the Reds. No balls and 2 strikes. Ray Knight to follow, then Cesar Geronimo. Bouncer right side. Garner. On to Stargell. Dreesen is out 1 away. Here's third baseman Ray Knight. Had the base hit to center in the second. Ball game tied at 1-1. We're in the bottom of the fourth inning. These two clubs battling for the right to go to the World Series. Knight pops it up. Stargell taking charge, and 2 away. Bibby's not had an easy inning yet. He'd like to have one here. This center fielder, Cesar Geronimo, he struck out of the second. Pirates won and the Reds won in the last of the fourth. Jam-packed Riverfront Stadium for the second game of the series. And Bibby falls behind 2-0. His last 2 starts, complete game victories. Dale Berra not eligible, but with the team, as is Joe Coleman.
Bibby wants to come back and get Geronimo here if he can. Make that pitcher lead off the following inning.
Well, I tell you, the name Berra, you look at Dale, that name has been in postseason competition. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Struck him out. He did get him. So that is strikeout number 3 for Jim Bibby, and the Reds go down quietly in the fourth after 4 innings of play from Cincinnati, Ohio. It's our Buccos 1 and the Cincinnati Reds 1. The fifth, it'll be Garner, Bibby, and Moreno against Frank Pastore. Nellie, this is game 2 now. The Pirates lead in the series right now 1-0. Let's talk about the strategy back and forth and the psychology. If the Bucks take a 2-0 advantage to go home, what's the feeling there, would you say?
Well, then it boils down to the Bucks only have to win 1 out of 3 at home, and they've done very well at home. It's what it does for the Reds and Johnny McNamara. He has to scramble with everything he has to try and pull it out, winning 3 games in a row, which, percentage speaking, you know, it's very difficult to do. His pitching, he will not be able to go with any one particular pitcher. He can't afford to let one pitcher get in trouble very much. He's just going to have to scramble like crazy where we can set and elect our pitchers as it goes.
Garner leading off the fifth. Line drive. Collins sliding. Didn't make it catch it. Safe. Garner is safe at first. Second base umpire Frank Pulley ruled no catch. And we're going to have our first major rhubarb of this championship series. Pulley has said no catch. He is the second base umpire. John Kibler is the right field umpire, but I think that Pulley felt he had the best look at it. McNamara trying to cool his club down here.
And as we've seen a couple of times this year, after some discussion, an umpire has gone to one of his compatriots and asked, did you see the ball better than I did? Did I make the wrong call? And in one instance, there was a changed call for our benefit. But here, I don't know if Pulley is indeed going to appeal to John Kibler, who is down the right field line.
Now, the question would be, did he see the ball skip on the artificial surface? If he felt in his own mind that he did, then he'd have to stick with his call. But Pulley trying to get reason in here with McNamara. It's a 1-1 ball game in the 5th inning.
It's funny, Collins came in really hot saying he caught the ball, and McNamara was the one that's telling Collins, wait a minute, let's talk this thing out. And now it's Pulley that's telling McNamara, hey, wait a minute, calm down, we'll discuss this thing intellectually.
Now John Kibler, the right field umpire, is coming into the discussion. He's the umpire that just come into your picture now. It was Pulley who made the definitive call. He went running out into shallow right center fields, indicating that it was a no catch and that Garner is on the sinking liner. Similar play to the catch that Collins made on Parker in last night's game. Frank Pulley, second base umpire. Now Ed Montague, the home plate umpire, walking into the conversation. So the argument continues on this line drive off the bat of Garner. As the argument continues, Frank Pastore is warming up on the mound. Dave Collins, you know, I didn't think Collins stalked in all that quickly. I'm not. Now let's see it. Here's the line drive to right. We'll see it from a couple of different angles.
Well, Collins didn't get a real good start. Accelerated right at the last minute. Comes down, gets his glove under the ball, but I'm sure the question is, did it pop out? And he claims he caught it. And from this angle, it was difficult to see because his body was behind it. But here, it appears as though he does catch it. The ball never did pop out of his glove. It appears as though he does make the catch, but it was so quick, it was difficult, I guess, for the umpire to make a clean decision. It looked like it popped the ball out of his glove momentarily.
You can see from the way that his glove was turned down towards the ground that there's a split second there where you think that the ball hit the carpet, but from this angle here, I think it's clear that he made the grab.
But being the prejudiced Pittsburgh broadcaster that I am, I thought it was safe all the way.
Did you really?
No, I thought he made the catch.
I thought he made the catch from that angle right there. There were three angles that we showed you. The second one appeared to give us the best look.
Hang in there, Dave. Nice try.
But I'll tell you, the way that second replay that we showed you, you can see there, right there, you can see that from Pulley's standpoint, and Pulley's on the other side, really, that he's got to see some baseball there. And
keep in mind, too, that the outfielders do not use a closed web, that it's more or less an H web in an H pattern. You can see a lot of baseball while it's in the glove.
Good point, Nelly, good point. Bibby bunting. Knight looked to second, throws high to Morgan, and Morgan just does get the corner of the bag. So the sacrifice goes 5-4 as Ray Knight kind of just lollipopped the ball to Morgan. Garner moves down to second base on the sacrifice. Concepcion there asking Garner what he thought of the play. Here's that bunt.
Boy, and they're asking Morgan to stretch a little bit higher than his true size. He makes a fine play and has to stab at that bag twice, but the second time he nailed the corner.
All right, so it's Garner at second. Here's the bunt again. Good bunt by Bibby.
Again, placing it down that third base line, but Knight kind of getting crossed up there a little bit, taking a look at second base and then not picking up the target real well at first base, almost threw the ball away.
So Garner is in scoring position with one away. And Moreno, the batter, he's 0 for 2, has grounded out and flied out. 1-1 ball game. We're in the fifth inning. Fouled out of play, strike one. This is our jackpot inning. Garner let it off with that single to right. And Joanne Ruffing is our Giant Eagle playoff contestant in this fifth inning. Pirates with 4 hits in the game. We had 3 in the fourth inning in scoring our opening run. Tied the game up at 1-1. Frank Pastore, the right-hander, facing Omar Moreno. Geronimo has it. Garner bluffed as if he might be tagging, but never moved. 2 away.
That was just a little reminder on the part of Cesar Geronimo. He's saying, hey, Dave Parker can throw well, some other people can throw well, but I've still got one of the best arms in Major League Baseball, and I'll just demonstrate that fact right here.
Foley steps in. He's 1 for 2. In the fourth inning, single to right and scored. Going to get some action in the Cincinnati bullpen. Of course, now we've got a trio of left-handed batters due up after Foley. It looks like the left-hander Charlie Liebrandt warming up. They placed him on their active list when they disabled Bonham yesterday. 1-1 ball game. Garner at second, 2 outs. Foley batting for Joanne Ruffing. Chuck Tanner's ball club won last night 5-2, and we're wrapped up in a 1-1 ball game here this afternoon. Watch out. Fouled back this way, no balls and 2 strikes. That's who it is, left-hander Liebrandt. Garner off second base, 2 away. Frank Pastore delivers. Foley taps it foul. Off the fence in front of the Pirate bullpen, or Pirate dugout, rather. They're really high on this youngster, this left-hander Liebrandt. And they activated him when Bill Bonham was disabled yesterday. Starting pitcher for the Reds this afternoon, Frank Pastore. Out in front of Foley, no balls, 2 strikes.
Pastore, as of yet, has not demonstrated the fact that he's able to move the ball with precision. He's relying on just his good stuff and trying to throw good strikes, challenging our hitters more than trying to spot the ball.
Base hit. Garner will score. Pirates take a 2-1 lead. Ball rolling down in the corner. And Foley is into second base with a 2-out stand-up double. 2-1 Buccos lead here in the 5th inning as Garner scores from second base. Foley gets his 4th hit of the series. Tim Foley. Always been a winner. Feisty shortstop of the Bucks.
Trying to come in on Tim, and he gets that short bat right on through, drills it between Ray Knight and the third base bag. It rolls down all the way in the corner. Phil Garner is going to score easily, and Foster just waits for the ball to come out and gets the ball back in. And again, that controversial call in right field helps the Bucks.
As Garner reached on that call, went to second on a sacrifice bunt and scored on the Foley double. So Tim, with 4 hits in the first 2 games of the series, picks up his 2nd RBI of the series. Parker steps in 1 for 2. Two to 1. Pirates leading. Pastore delivers. And a strike on the outside corner. We talked at the top of this inning, and Parker is batting in this jackpot inning for Joanne Ruffing of Pittsburgh. We talked about the psychology, the mental aspect if the Bucks went out in front 2-0. We get a second here, we'll talk about the other possibility. We took the optimistic view the first time. There's a bouncer up the middle. Concepcion on to Dreesen. No home run during our Giant Eagles sweepstakes inning, but no one ever a loser here. Our contestant Joanne Ruffing will receive a certificate for 10 Tasty Cake family packs and a year's supply of daily juice products redeemable at your grocer. Our next Giant Eagle sweepstakes inning will be worth $600. Pirates in the 5th inning get a run on 2 hits, and after 4.5 lead in game 2, Pirates 2 and the Reds 1.
And now here is a tasty break from Tasty Cake.
The Pirates would like to extend their most sincere thanks and appreciation to all Pirate fans for their fine support during 1979.
And Nellie, as I know you know, the Pirate attendance increased in '79 almost 50%, drawing over 1.4 million fans. So to all Pirate fans, our deepest thanks. And of course, with the paid attendance of the '79 season, it was the 2nd highest in the history of Free River Stadium. Exciting Pirate Ball Club. It really has been quite a year, and we've taken this excitement right into game 2 of the National League Championship Series. Nellie, to give both sides of the coin here, we talked at the top of the 5th inning about if we go out in front 2-0. Now, what about the psychology for both clubs if it goes 1-1 as Pastore fouls the first pitch off strike 1?
Well, then the Pirates have to win 2 out of 3, as do the Reds. We've been a better club record-wise on the road than at home, but in recent weeks we've played well no matter where it's been. So it actually goes back to then you go for 2 out of 3 and you want that first game back in Pittsburgh. So both managers, I would think, would be going all out with their best pitcher available on Friday.
Interesting you used the word available. I would think in the Reds case, Seaver could not come back until Saturday, right?
Yes, conceivably so. They would still have to go with their plan. It was Lacoste. Ours is still to be announced.
2 balls and a strike as Pastore is leading off the bottom of the 5th. You surprised that at this point down a run that they're keeping Pastore in the game?
Well, we're now into the bottom of the 5th, and it's early enough. Pastore is still pitching well. He's only down by 1 run. If you have confidence that he stays strong and can close the door the rest of the way, you can go with him. They've had to use their bullpen a little bit now. Their #1 man being used quite a bit last night, so it's not a bad move here to go with Pastore.
3-2. A big crowd again here this afternoon at Riverfront for game 2 of this National League playoff game. As you look in from our right field camera. Payoff pitch. And he's on via the walk. There's the president of the National League, Chubb Feeney, and a couple of the National League general managers just behind him. That's John Claiborne of the St. Louis Cardinals. Just behind the president of the National League. They're situated behind the Reds dugout on the first base side, and pitching coach Harvey Haddock's out. Rooker going to go up to the Pirate bullpen. He'll warm up for the 3rd time, and Enrique Romo is going to join him.
Well, that does send a manager and a pitching coach up a wall when you walk the opposing pitcher, especially leading off the inning. It might be a telltale sign, and I know manager Chuck Towner and Harvey watch Bibby very close, because sometimes this season it seems that Jim has been cruising along very well, giving up very few hits, throwing strikes, and then all of a sudden he runs into some control trouble, and the opposing team has a big inning. Chuck doesn't want a big inning to happen, so he's going to stay very close to Jim Bibby at this point.
Case in point, the first game of the doubleheader in Philadelphia, back about the middle of the month when Bibby went through the first time through the Philly batting order, 1, 2, 3, 9 up, 9 down, and then ran into trouble in the 4th and 5th innings. Rooker on the left side, or Rooker on the right side, the left-hander. Romo on the left side, the right-hander. We're in the 5th. Pirates leading 2-1. Dave Collins, the batter, he is 0 for 2 in the game, 2 for 7 in the series. Batting from the left side. Madlock creeping in from 3rd. Collins shows bunt, and strike 1. Pastore on, leadoff walk. Bibby going to go for the lead man to Foley, and they erase Pastore. Bibby came down the hill in a hurry and teamed up with Foley to get the out at second base, 1-6.
Him quickly, the pitcher running. He had a play, instinctively turned and made a good throw to Foley.
So Collins is on with 1 away. And the batter is second baseman Joe Morgan. Walked in the first inning and swiped the base. And flied out to Foley in left center field in the 3rd. So Morgan is 0 for 5 in the series. Pirates 2, Reds 1. Cincinnati got the first run in the 2nd when Pastore's sacrifice fly chased Reason home. Then Foley scored to tie the game in the 4th. Then Foley doubled home Garner to put us in front on the top of this 5th inning. Collins at first. He had 16 stolen bases during the regular season. Omar Moreno has it in right center field. Collins retreats to first base and 2 away. Shortstop Concepcion, 1 for 2. Big play in this ball game was in the third when Concepcion tried to steal third with bench batting, and Ed Ott fired to Matlock and gunned him down. Pirates 2, Reds 1, bottom of the 5th inning. The scene shifts to Pittsburgh. Pirates fly home tonight. The Reds will fly into Pittsburgh tomorrow morning. Game 3 of this championship series slated for 3:15 Friday afternoon. And we'll join you at 3 o'clock for Pirate Television from Three Rivers Stadium. Throw to first base. By the way, one of the things that you're hearing frequently here in Cincinnati, there's some talk that they might have to reschedule, or Cincinnati folks think they might have to reschedule a Steeler-Bengal football game that is scheduled for Riverfront Stadium in about 10 days. Cincinnati folks think they're going to have to change it. We, of course, feel that we're going to be in the World Series and they can play the football game right here at Riverfront.
We're going to do our best to make that happen.
Collins at first and 2 down. He's running. Strike. And the throw not in time. Good play by Garner backing up. Collins gets the stolen base.
Ed Ott really didn't have a chance to throw out the runner. There was slow movement to a home plate on the part of Bibby. Ball short hop Foley, but it didn't matter. Collins had such a good jump, and with his speed, we really didn't have a chance. And he's in there with that stolen base. Garner alertly and with a lot of hustle is backing up the play, so Collins is unable to go to third. Scraps being right there.
Collins in scoring position with 2 away. Bottom of the 5th inning. Pirates in front 2-1. No balls and a strike on Concepcion. Fly ball to right. Parker will take charge. And the Reds are gone in the 5th inning. Cincinnati, no runs, no hits, a walk, a stolen base in the inning. And after 5 innings of play from Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, it's our Buccos 2 and the Reds 1.
Well, just in case you're curious or need some, plenty of good general admission seats still remain for the 1979 playoff games to be held where else but in Pittsburgh.
Good seats for your sit, right? The playoffs begin in Pittsburgh this Friday. That's game 3 of the series at 3:15. Also scheduled for Saturday evening and Sunday afternoon. General admission tickets are only $4 and they're going fast.
So do like I have done and stop by the Pirate ticket office at Three Rivers to pick up yours today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Candelaria, I think he's thinking about the World Series. He might. Did you give him that cap from your Baltimore days?
No, mine was dirty. That looks like a new one. I tell you, he comes up with some great hats.
He was wearing during that final weekend when we were playing the Cubs and battling the Expos for the crown in the East. He was wearing the Expo hat. Morgan to his right, flipped the bet, but throw Stargell out.
He's hopeful that that's his next start. His next start will be against Baltimore. That's what he's hoping for. So maybe he's thinking about it right now. Put that hat on and burn a mental impression in that mind.
Chuck Tanner, by the way, did indicate that Candy would be a candidate for Game 5 of this series if there is a Game 5. Look at Joe Morgan. Handled a play on the Stargell ground ball here in the 6th inning. 2-1, Pirates lead. Milner 0 for 1. Looked like he slipped a little bit on this play.
He did. His footing slipped out just a little bit right there. We see his foot slipped out, but he was still able to recover and make the play.
Milner pops it into shallow center. Concepcion. Red shortstop has it. Milner's out 2 away. Chuck Tanner commenting before the game about the show that Concepcion put on last night. It was a great ball game. It really was an outstanding game, and this one Got to be right up there. 2-1 is the score. 6th inning. Pirates want to take a 2-game advantage. Reds trying to even things up before we move it to Pittsburgh. Fly ball into center. Geronimo has it. Pirates are retired 1-2-3 in the 6th inning. So after 5.5 innings of play in Game 2 of the National League Championship Series, it's our Buccos leading the Reds 2-1. We'll be right back.
Those magnificent bears in the friendly skies.
Sir, are you familiar with United Super Saver?
Am I familiar? United Super Saver. Save 30% Friday through Sunday, 40% on night coach. Save 40% Monday through Thursday, 50% on night coach. And United has Super Saver to more of this land than anyone.
That's magnificent retention. Really? Now your name, sir.
Fly the friendly skies. Call your travel agent.
Most ball players dream about making it to the Hall of Fame. But I'd be satisfied if people just remember me as the guy with the great chewing tobacco. That's Levi Garrett, my brand. Sure, I've tried a lot of other brands in my time, but once you taste this fresh Levi Garrett flavor, you'll see why it's one of the fastest growing brands of loose leaf chewing tobacco in the country. After all, fame is a fleeting thing, but with Levi Garrett, you're always a winner.
Pirate friends, if you've enjoyed this great season of Pirate baseball and want to be a part of the Buccos in 1980, guarantee yourself seats for the 1980 World Series and playoffs, then you should consider becoming a Pirate season ticket holder.
You know, because the Pirates have been very versatile. They offer many different types of plans, such as a full season night games only, Sunday games only, and a new general admission season ticket that's so reasonable, affordable, anyone can afford it, even me. So call 323-5080 for further information.
That's right. They come at you a couple different ways. You know, hard stuff in, breaky stuff away, full season plans, Sundays only. Got a new left fielder for the Bucks. We go to the bottom of the 6th. It's Bill Robinson. Takes John Milner's spot defensively, and he'll take John's number 5 spot of the batting order. Jim Bibby has gone all the way for the Bucks. Frank Pastore all the way for the Reds, and now it'll be Bibby against Foster. Bottom of the 6th. Pirates leading 2-1. Foster has walked twice. Kelly, what's the book on George Foster?
George is, of course, one of the strongest hitters in the major leagues. He likes the ball down and over the plate. But a big thing that has helped him, as has Willie Stargell, is he's learned to hit the ball out anywhere in the ballpark. He doesn't try to pull the ball, and thus he's strong everywhere in the park. All he wants to do is make good, solid, hard contact.
Johnny McNamara in his first year as manager of the Reds. And he's gotten the Reds into the National League playoffs despite not having Foster for 40 games, losing Griffey for the latter stages of '79. Concepcion missed a bit.
In pitching to Foster, the way that you try and get him out is you try and mix your pitches well and move the ball around. Don't pitch him any one way at bat.
Foul back, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Basically, he'll hit all the pitches, so you can't show it to him too much any one time.
Has the ability to adjust.
And he does very quickly. He pays attention. All your good hitters pay attention to how the pitcher is pitching that particular day, and I notice he has noticed today that he's walked 2 times, so he's a little more aggressive this time at bat.
2-2. Foster will be followed by Bench and then Dreesen. Pirates in front 2-1, staking Jim Bibby to the 1-run lead here in the bottom of the 6th. Bibby, the best percentage in the National League this year, 12 wins and 4 losses. That's the ever-dangerous George Foster. Struck him out. 4th strikeout for Bibby. Foster goes down swinging. 1 away.
Boy, what a good pitch it was. We haven't been there too many times with that good slider. And as we see, it didn't break away as much as it did, almost straight down. And Foster swinging right over the top of it. Good pitch by Jim Bibby.
So now Bibby to face bench. Parker made an outstanding running catch on the warning track in right center in the 1st inning. And then Bench fouled out to Stargell in the 3rd. Bucks lead. Just outside, ball 1. See how Bibby works to bench your first pitch away.
Bench still a good fastball hitter. Likes the ball from the middle of the plate inside. He likes to pull the ball when he gets a chance.
1-1.
Jim getting that breaking ball over when he's been behind, and if he does that, he should be very, very effective the rest of the way.
Broken bat, ground ball to short. Foley takes charge and benches out 2 away. Pirates 2 runs on 5 hits. Reds 1 run on 3 hits. Foley's out of hand in both of our runs. He scored our first run of the 4th and doubled home Garner for our 2nd run of the 5th. Madlock in to talk to Bibby. Nobody on, 2 down.
Be a little reminder, he has 2 outs. We've gotten them rather easily with a strikeout and a ground ball to short. He's telling him now, don't let Dreesen hit the ball out of the ballpark on you. Make them take 2 or 3 singles to drive this run in. So have an idea of what you're doing now. And this guy's a sleeper. He has good power if he pulls the ball. So have an idea of what you're doing.
Fastball away and fouled off, strike 1. Pirates in front 2-1 in game 2. Bucks won the first game in 11 innings last night, 5-2 on the Stargell 11th inning homer. Both the Reds and the Pirates playing their 21st League Championship Series game, a new record. The old mark was 20, set by the Oakland A's.
Good fastball, blew it right by him.
Now what's he looking for? It's where the guessing game goes on between pitcher and hitter.
Bibby is shaking off the fastball, wants to go to that slider. Good pitch, just breaking off the inside part of the plate.
Almost got the impression from Ed Ott's reaction he wasn't really excited about going to that pitch in that situation.
Well, Ott knows that more hanging breaking balls are hit for home runs than that good fastball, and he wants to stay away with that hard stuff.
There it is. That's a full count. Breaking pitch in on 1 and 2. Fastball away on 3 and 2. Hard stuff again. Left center. Robinson makes the grab. Dreesen is out. The Reds are gone in the 6th inning. Cincinnati goes down in order. And after 6 innings of play from Riverfront Stadium in Game 2 of the playoffs, it's our Buccos 2 and the Reds 1, and Milo will be coming back to join you in the 7th inning.
How long do you want your car to last?
Forever. It still pulls this trailer on our camping trips after more than 10 years.
Of course, the engine gets regular maintenance and Quaker State motor oil.
A lot of rough driving, too. Last year to Death Valley, and we're always to the Sierras backpacking.
Car's done over 100,000 miles, and it's still running fine.
Quaker State can't promise everyone that mileage, but Quaker State helps cars last.
I guess that's why it's the best-selling oil in America.
Jacobsen introduces the most envied man on the block. The man with the Jacobsen Snowburst Snow Thrower. It has a 3-horsepower engine, one of the biggest in its class, with Power Burst. For extra power to punch through drifts, prevent stalling. Power to throw snow up to 18 feet. Be ready for snow with a Jacobsen Snowburst. America cleans up with Jacob.
Available at these Jacobsen dealers.
Moving to the 7th at Riverfront, and the next 3 innings are sponsored in part by Pennsylvania Lottery. Remember, you've got to play to win. And in part by your 12 neighborhood AMCO transmission centers, who can put you and your car back together again. Hello again, everybody. Milo Hamilton back with you, along with Nelson Briles, to carry you through to the end of this ball game. When we come back with a lead, the Pirates are out in front 2-1 with this total board. Pirates 2-5-0. RBI is Madlock and Foley. Jim Bibby has pitched all the way. For the Reds, 1-3-0. RBI Pastore, and he has pitched all the way also. Wondering from Nelson Briles about Bibby. Seemed to be throwing a lot more breaking pitches in the last couple of innings.
He has, and is gaining more confidence in it. He threw a couple over in that last inning when he was behind the count. Got them over, and then that really made that fastball look good. He threw right by some people.
And Ed Ott jumps on the first offering for Pastore and singles into right field. And Ott gets his first hit today and his second hit in the series. And that is hit number 6 off Pastore, and that's going to put their bullpen to work. A look at some of the folks out to see championship baseball in the National League Championship Series. And Phil Garner, who led off the 5th with the controversial base hit, as it turned out. How did it look over here?
I thought he caught the ball, Milo. I didn't think the ball came out of his glove at all. He didn't trap it.
I thought McNamara's argument that he went on with, and you can't tell what he's doing down there, but the way he started to point when he then started to leave the field, I felt that he felt that the first base line umpire, the right field line umpire, should have been asked for help or should have even called the play. Didn't you think that he wasn't arguing with the second base umpire as much as he felt that maybe he didn't have the best look?
Well, that seemed true, and we've had, so many appeals. In a couple of cases, they've appealed to the other umpire, and he's overruled. But there, Frank Pulley said, no, I saw the ball all the way.
And there's their bullpen working. Bear and Tomlin. They're a duet quite often. Even have matching outfits. Garner with a fly ball to left. Foster with a tough field right now. He makes the play, but you saw him struggling with it.
Well, this is that sun field we talked about earlier, saying somewhere between 430 and 530 in this ballpark. It can really get difficult. That sun going down just a little bit, and it's the line drive or the semi-line drive. As Phil Garner slips getting out of the box, you see George Foster start to peek, and he's really peeking right now, hiding behind those shades, able to pick the ball up and get it back in, but it's going to be tough, and that might be an important part of this game from here on out.
All right, our batter is Jim Bibby with out at first and 1 down. Spread away to bunt. Bunts it. Going to make Bench come out of there to get it. Throws down to Morgan, covering. Sacrifice accomplished. Second straight time that he's done it. Gets Ott into scoring position. And there's the outer. 2 away now, and it'll be up to Omar Moreno to do some good. That last play went 2-4. And here it is again. He makes a good bunt right here.
The execution of fundamentals, especially when you're a pitcher. This is the way you help yourself with the bat. Get that runner to second base and give the rest of your lineup a chance to drive the runs in. Drops it out, deadens the ball somewhat, makes Bench field the ball. He knows that there's only one play, and that's at first base.
McNamara is out talking to Bench and Pastore. You know, when Bibby sacrificed in the 5th inning after Garner had gotten on the ball that they ruled that was trapped, I thought that Knight, when he came in on Bibby's bunt that time, thought he had a play at second base, and Concepcion was nowhere in the neighborhood. And boy, did you notice the glare that went on between Knight and Concepcion, saying, hey, where in the heck are you? It's just a good thing Knight didn't come up throwing to a base, because the ball would have sailed into center.
Knight just checked it out and saw that no one was there and went ahead and fired to first, but I think that took a little concentration off of his throw, because he almost threw the ball away.
Almost threw a rainbow job. All right, he stayed with the youngster. And now Omar Moreno 0 for 3 today and 1 for 8 in the series. We'll be looking at Frank Pastore. Omar has bounced to second, flied to left, and flied to center. Ott's at second base with 2 away. We're in the 7th inning, leading by a run. Fouled off, and it's strike 1. Well, this is a spot where you'd like to get that big hit out of the Antelope. Get out home, give Bibby some breathing room. Bibby, who struggled early, has settled down now in the last 3 innings. And although he's not challenging as many people as he did in the late part of the season, he's still getting that ball where he wants it. And there's a foul back to the left side, and you heard Nelly talk about it a couple of moments ago. If he's got the confidence in the breaking ball, then go ahead and use it. Then maybe he'll get that fastball back in another inning or so. Then he's just got something else to go with. And all the weapons you can get when you go to this war, you'll take advantage of, huh?
Boy, you certainly do. And right here, John McNamara wants Pastore to get out of this inning if he possibly can. They'll pinch hit for him in the bottom of the inning. He wouldn't have to use an extra pitcher.
Because he's due up third in the bottom of the 7th. No balls, 2 strikes. 1 and 2. Muscled up on his heater, and it sailed that time. Oh, Ed Ott at second base. He led off with a single. Got to second on the Bibby sack. And you can see Ott, oh, he's looking around there to see if that shortstop or that second baseman are going to be playing games with him. Pastore checking and working to Omar. 2 and 2. Tim Foley, who's had a couple of hits again today and driven in a run, would be next. We're in the 7th inning. We fell behind in the 2nd when Pastore got Dreesen home with a sacrifice fly. We tied it in the 4th inning when Madlock's fielder's choice got Foley home, and then Foley with a double got Garner home to give the Bucks their first lead of today. That was in the 5th, and we're now in the 7th. 2-1 Pirates, trying to take a 2-game lead in the series. Line drive, left field, base hit. Foster charging. Ed Ott will challenge. The throw toward the plate is going to be out at the plate. Foster charges the sharply hit line drive to left. Throws a strike to Bench, who shut the door, blocked it off. Ott was out, and the side has been retired. And here it is again. Foster came up winging. Now watch this. Bench right there. Shuts the door. He blocks it as well as anybody in the game. And Ott had no place to go but run up against a brick wall, and the side has been retired. Give credit to a base hit to Moreno, but Ott cut down at the plate. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, 1 left. 7th inning stretch time for the Reds fans at Riverfront. Still tight as you can get it here. The Pirates 2 and the Reds 1.
If I never get back, let me root for the home.
You don't move mountains, you go through them. And all it takes to carve a tunnel out of a mile of hard rock is steel and sweat and dynamite. Now comes Miller time. Time to head for the best tasting beer you can find. Miller High Life.
If you've got the time, we've got the beer. Miller Beer.
Hey, did you play today?
Yep, my bowling score.
I didn't know they had numbers that low. Did you remember to play today?
Our new address, straight.
Hey, that pays 500 to 1. It's 7 o'clock.
Good evening, everyone. It's time for the live drawing of the Daily Number.
The Daily Number. It's a big hit. Play today, watch tonight.
Great buy. I can have it delivered tomorrow.
Great number. I can play it tomorrow.
That's it.
There are plenty of good general admission seats remaining for the 79 playoffs games to be held in Pittsburgh, and the first game will be Friday afternoon. The playoffs begin at that Friday date at 3:15 and are also scheduled for Saturday evening and Sunday afternoon. General admission tickets are only $4, and they're going fast again today, so you stop by the Pirate ticket office at Three Rivers and pick up yours and be out there to welcome these Buccos home. Bottom of the 7th. As Bibby works in the 7th. A little of the atmosphere here in the Queen City. And that's just outside. Sometimes when I see Foster hit some home runs in this park, I think that they're going to end up in that drink out there. All right, this is Ray Knight, 1 for 2. Ed Otz's battery mate, and here we go in the bottom of the 7th. Fouled off, out of play. And as we go into these bottom 3 innings, Stargell and Garner on the right side of Chuck Tanner's infield, Tim Foley and Madlock on the left. The outfield, left to right, is Robinson, Moreno, and Parker. After we got in front, Robinson moved into left field. That's pretty much of a common thing with Chuck Tanner. And our bullpen is working. Romo, a right-hander, and Jackson, a lefty. Knight with a no-ball, 1-strike count. Bibby working. Popped some leather with that one.
They certainly did. And right now, from the 7th through the 9th innings, Bibby has to keep in mind, hey, the score might not get any better. I might have to win this ball game 2-1. So he has to keep in the back of his mind that the ball game could ride on one pitch. Be careful of your selection and your location from here on out.
Yep, he doesn't have any luxury or any latitude here. He's got to be tough. And the 0-2. Lined into right center. Parker over to get it on the backhand bounce. Boy, did that ball bounce perfectly for him, and a good effort, and he held him to a single.
Boy, what a fine play by Dave Parker. He has to try and get over to cut this ball off. If he can't get to it, it's not only a double, the ball might go all the way to the wall for a triple. The ball comes up just enough. Davey scoops it up, plants himself very quickly, and then dares Ray Knight to go on into second base with his fine arm. Look at that fine backhanded pickup. Nice going, Dave Parker.
All right, it's a leadoff single by Knight, his second hit of the game. He's answering the signs, of course, from his third base coach, Russ Nixon. And Geronimo, who is 0 for 2, striking out each of his first 2 trips, is up here now. So they have put the potential tying run on as they lead off the 7th with Knight. Geronimo squares away and takes it outside for a ball. Madlock was coming right up in his face from third. And if McNamara gives him the same liberty that a lot of managers do in that situation, in this artificial surface, that's got to be tempting for Geronimo, seeing Madlock to come up, to go away from that bunting stance and try to chop down on that ball. Here's the 1-0. Butting, foul along the first base side. 1 ball, 1 strike. Left-hander is Grant Jackson, 23. A right-hander, Enrique Romo, 15. They should be ready. They have thrown. In fact, our bullpen has been busy about 5 innings of this game, especially in the first 3 innings when Bibby was struggling noticeably, then settled down in the 4th, 5th, and 6th, but got right back into trouble here in the 7th inning on the leadoff single by Knight. Pirates leading 2-1. They've out hit the Reds 7-4. There have been no errors. We've seen great defense on both sides in this first game and a half. That's high, and it's 2-1. Now the pitcher Pastore is due, and he is on deck. Geronimo the batter with a 2-1 count. Nobody out as Knight leads off at first. Look at Bibby check him. Bunts it. Stargell with it. Has no play at second. Flips behind him to Garner. Sacrifice accomplished. 3-4 on the sack. Now, Pastore will be lifted. Spillman will be the pinch hitter. When I saw Pastore